The use of mobile payment apps continues to grow in popularity. These apps make it easy to send money virtually between your friends and family. However, there are some risks to using these apps. Hi, I'm Kevin Collins, Banking Operations Director for the firm, and this is Pinnacle's Fraudcast. I'm joined today by Brandon Cathy, the Director of Digital Banking Solutions, and today we're talking about mobile app safety.
Hey Kevin, glad to be here.
Brandon, we know these apps are designed for convenience and the ease of doing business. Setting this up is relatively simple. You just download the app, set up a free account, connect it to your bank or debit card, and you're ready to roll. You can pay your babysitter, reimburse your friends for picking up dinner, picking up groceries, contributing to a group birthday gift. You may even be able to use the app to pay at a store. The benefit of using the apps is pretty obvious, but being a financial institution, we're inherently worried about risk, and we're mindful of those risks for using these mobile payment apps. So let's get into some of the risks that people need to be mindful of.
You're right, Kevin. Mobile payment apps are hugely popular. They're convenient. In fact, over 5 billion people will be using them by 2026. That's a huge number. That's over half the population of the world.
Wow.
But with that convenience and speed, there are risk factors that the user really needs to take into consideration. Scammers love mobile payment apps. They use email messages and text messages that can easily persuade someone to send money, like too good to be true deals, things like that.
Yeah. You got to be very aware of that and really think about those scammers that are coming after you, and always try to be protective of your own funds and be smart. And sometimes if it's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We've seen instances where, tickets to a really popular concert or things like that are offered, and people think that they need to take advantage of that quickly. And that's the point of the scammer, is to create some urgency for you to go ahead and send that money.
That's a good point. I was going to say that about urgency. That's one thing. That's one of the triggers that they use, is to try to get you to say, you got to take care of this now. You got to go do this now. That's something that a lot of people are inherently going to take advantage of, or try to take advantage of.
Exactly. Right? One example that happened recently to me was where I was selling a bike on Marketplace. And I had a quick offer on it. I was excited about having that quick offer. The person was going to pay me through a mobile payment app, said that they sent the money, but that they got a response that the funds were being held on my end, and that I needed to respond to an email from them. Which, working in this industry, that's a red flag for me.
Yeah.
So I went and looked at the email, and while it looked fairly legitimate, the from email address was actually a Gmail address instead of the payment provider. So that was a quick, red flag for me.
So the domain is something that is usually something that's a trigger, and something that you can notice pretty easily?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you would look for, whoever you're using for that payment provider, the domain should be their name, not Gmail. So in that instance, I quickly reported the buyer to the payment service, deleted their messages. But, had I responded to that email, I would have either compromised my device by clicking on the link, or had I went further and actually signed in to the fictitious site, I would have provided my credentials to that payment service to someone that shouldn't have them.
So that's what they're trying to do, is trying to get you to click on that link, to try to log in, to try to have you enter your payment information again, so that they can then capture it and then use it as if they were you.
That's
correct?
Exactly right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen so many instances. Another instance was with law enforcement, someone impersonating law enforcement to get someone to pay money to avoid a parking ticket, or to avoid even jail time. I mean, the things that we've seen are pretty scary.
Yeah. And that's one that actually happened to a family friend of mine. They got a call. They were told that they were going to be arrested. It was imminent. They were going to be there unless they paid them $5,000. And they were really thinking about doing it.
Yeah.
So good to know that they were using a police officer's name, a law enforcement name, a true officer for the area. So you just have to think really about who is this person? What are they asking for? Why are they asking for this information? Should I be providing this information? What can somebody do with it? And mobile apps, like you said, it makes it very easy for people to try to take advantage of unsuspecting clients.
Yeah.
So, wow, those are all great points, and it's good that you knew what to do and what to look for, and be sorry you sent the money to the scammer. You mentioned reviewing the email address as a way to determine if the requests are legitimate. What are some other ways to spot a scammer?
I think just looking for grammatical errors or spelling errors in email addresses. I talked about looking at the domain name or the email address as a good indication. That's probably the best indication of scams like that. Also, not falling victim to those too good to be true offers, things like that. It's important to remember that payment apps should be treated like cash. So once you send that money through that payment app, it's gone.
Right.
The likelihood of you getting that money back is very, very low. And so, if you're going to use a payment app, we encourage you to use them, but use them with the knowledge in hand of the risk that goes into that payment app. So treat them like cash. That's really the best thing that we can say there. And lastly, I would just say, never provide your credentials to someone else, regardless of who it is. So your credentials to your payment app, your credentials to online banking, keep all of that stuff to yourself.
Yeah. I just think it's inherently important that you be skeptical of people, and you be skeptical of the information that you're providing. Like you said, this is your cash, and when something like this happens and that money's gone, you're not going to be able to go back to the bank and say, well, this was a fraud case and they took my money. That money's gone. That money has cycled through their account. So it's very good to try to recognize that up front. If you can prevent it up front, it makes it a whole lot easier. And you talked about the domains, and what we've seen is very small differences in the spelling of domains.
That's a very good point.
And it looks like a legitimate email, it looks like a legitimate domain, but it has just one letter off.
Yeah.
So you'd really have to be careful and try to think as much as you possibly can to make sure that this person is legitimate and who you're talking to.
And it's always okay to call that person. If you receive a request for payment from someone that call them and make sure that they did request that money from them or from you. If it's something that just comes out of the blue, it's probably not accurate.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Brandon, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. I appreciate all the information. I appreciate your insight in your role here at the firm and all of the things that you do to help try to protect our clients, and all the things that we can do to try to help you to protect yourself and protect your accounts and protect your money. If you ever have any questions, there's more helpful hints can be found at www.pnfp.com/fraud center.